All right, welcome back. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the 305 Download. I'm Diego Wiener. I'm a criminal defense lawyer here with my co-host, Mr. Alfredo Rubio, a personal injury lawyer, and we're here talking about Miami life, the fun parts, and sometimes not so much the fun parts.
I think it's all the points put together about our wonderful city. I'd say our city is what it is.
Fair enough, man.
The bad, the ugly, the everything about it.
But talking about that, just like so many other places, it's hosting games.
Yeah.
Miami is. And I saw yesterday, you keep seeing these, we follow all these accounts on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be. And I saw that they had a fan fest in Bayside, or not Bayside, but like that whole Bayfront, Bayside part.
Oh, yeah.
And oh my God, can you imagine a free event in Miami with, I know for Ultra, for example, they host like 50,000 people at Bayfront.
Is it that many?
Something crazy. But to think, here you're not having a ticketed event from what I understand. I think FanFest is free. Could be wrong.
Pretty sure.
But here you have people traveling to Miami, going there. I started seeing the advisories from City of Miami Police. The event's oversold. Like there's an overflow of it.
Yeah.
And for the Colombia game especially, which was interesting to begin with.
I didn't see that overflow. I saw the game, which was, for me, it was kind of a disappointing game. But
I will tell you though, at least I was very impressed that from the get-go, there were scoring opportunities left and right. Yeah, at least from a perspective of someone that does not watch soccer avidly.
Yeah.
You get to see a lot of shots on goal. Colombia, really was taking a lot of shots. Then I think every time Cristiano Ronaldo touches the ball, the whole bar loses.
Of course. And that's the sad part, because Cristiano Ronaldo is obviously an amazing player. Mm-hmm. I think he's great. I love him. I like his personality. I like for what you see online, right? We don't know the guy personally, but from what you see online, the guy's awesome. He plays well. But his whole team, that's why I was disappointed, because it was a fun game to watch, a ton of scoring opportunities. But man, for me, Portugal was just so flat-footed the whole time that Ronaldo was like the only one rushing and running. And the other guys, I swear to you, half the time they'd get the ball, they were just standing there looking at it. And then they'd get it and then look. And it was like the give and go, except there was no go. It was like give and then just walk. And I'm like, dude. Yeah. So I think Colombia should have won based on how they both played. But it was a tie, so it was a good game.
Yeah, and I guess Colombia wins the group. But I will tell you, I saw the offsides that they called. The poor guy's foot by a toe.
Offside is offside.
And again, by a toe in the, let's say in the reenactment. I don't know if it's live but I remember they showed the scene. Yep. Just like in football, you would see like the instant replay.
Yep.
But it's a little different in FIFA's world, because I don't think they actually slow down the camera and show you the foot. They do like a reenactment type thing.
It's like what's made in VAR or troll something. Is it like, I don't know, someone assistant?
I think it was wrong. I think it was a goal. I think they should have gotten the 3 points. But luckily for them, it doesn't matter what
No, they won anyways. The point-wise, they won the group. And speaking of that, and just kind of piggybacking off the World Cup, did you see, obviously, Canada, America, and Mexico are hosting it, and they've all made it out of the group round. So that's exciting for everybody.
It's very, very exciting. I think Canada plays. Do they play today?
I have no idea.
I think there's one game going on today, but whatever. We're not seeing a FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, no. It's not. It's a Miami podcast.
The more fun about this whole thing is I keep seeing reports and hearing and seeing on television that, unfortunately, our fellow Hispanics are getting in trouble in every which way you can imagine. Although I have to say, I'm impressed I've not seen more about the Tartan Army getting in trouble. Because you'd imagine a group of people that constantly drink bars dry, public intoxication, disorderly conduct, fights. I haven't seen any news reports. So shouts out to you, the Scottish fans.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty good.
They're pretty, from everything you see, they're pretty chill. They're just drinking, having a good time. Yeah. They're not causing ruckus.
Oh, hold on. I didn't say they're pretty chill.
They're pretty chill.
But maybe in the context of, let's say we're used to seeing in, fans from Latin America, Colombian fans, Mexican fans, whatever it may be. But I'll tell you, I was very disappointed that I guess they go to their own watch parties, because I went to John Martin's in Coral Gables yesterday. I'm not Colombian. I wore the Mexico shirt. There were plenty of people wearing Argentina shirts and whatever.
Everyone's celebrating.
Hot hell for that. Fair enough. But what I did not see was any Scottish fans at John Martin's. So they must have their own watch party. And I don't know if they've now moved on from Miami. Maybe they're no longer here.
I don't know if they're even here or not. It was didn't hear about them too much. The week leading up to obviously Brazil Scotland game being here, you heard about them all over the Havana, out on the beach, at different bars, and then I guess once that game was over, they just kind of moseyed on to the next section. I don't know if they made it out of the group rounds or not. I haven't been paying attention to that. It's funny. I've been watching the games. I'm having a blast watching the games. My brother went to the game yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't even know it was in Miami till I'm watching. It's like live.
Yeah, and I have Miami Stadium. I can remember they removed it's not the Hard Rock for FIFA. It's just Miami Stadium. They're all changing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's funny. Yeah, it was at the Hard Rock last night, and my brother texted me a picture of her at the game. I'm like, how the hell did you? But of course, the firefighter, he got called in for overtime. Who's gonna say that?
Hey, but you know what's interesting though? I got a little bit of of an issue with the Hard Rock, and every time they have a big event, big game, even NFL games, which is what it's designed for, right? It's a football stadium. It's a nightmare. And I heard from my brother that he was trying to get in and out, and they have like an Uber drop off and an Uber pickup. I mean, if you're an emergency worker, it sounds like you have the easy in, but I've heard it's a total nightmare
to get in and out,
getting in and out, and we as Miamians, anytime I hear there's traffic or there's a closure, I'm not going.
But it's funny that you say that, because I think I haven't been to a football game there in a while, but usually I drive and you just pay to park, and if you don't have the parking inside the stadium, you got to park at one of those lots outside, and it's usually like a mile walk. I'm exaggerating, but it's long as hell. But then the Uber ones, they've always had a drop-off section and a pickup section. And man, sometimes you got to walk for that drop-off section. Like, they don't even make it close. Like, hey, Uber drop-off is like at the edge of the corner. I'm like, dude, what?
I'm so that they have like a church or a school like 2 miles away from the Hard Rock. Yeah. And they made that like the Uber drop-off like for a couple years back. And I was just like you're getting your whole workout walking.
Yeah,
to this meeting.
Yeah, walking to that. No, I mean, and people are parking at, you've got like if it's a Walmart or something nearby, it's right down the street. Some people park there. Of course, they get in trouble because you're not supposed to park there. They get towed. And they don't
like way. We in Miami know you park at Walmart, or more importantly at Publix.
Yeah,
you leave the car there, you're getting towed.
You're getting towed.
If you're a visitor, if you're coming, you might see that inviting grocery store parking lot. Yeah. It's empty for a reason. They tow you left and right. Yeah. Sorry to hate Publix, but that's. I
mean, but fair to Publix, man. They're trying to make sure their clients have parking. I would do the same thing if I had. My people who are spending money in my business at the parking lot I pay for have to park for because some dude wants to park closer to walk them out.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
With them too. But yeah, I mean, and speaking of all that, a lot of Europeans seem to be having a blast with the supermarkets in the United States.
Oh my God.
And
dude, I know we talked about it a little bit last time, but just like, I can't get over how much I love those reports. It's like, I think I saw the most recent reel. He's like, people that hear about America outside of the United States are easy to hate on America. But if you come to the United States, you understand. And it's like, I went to this and I went to that. I mean, I remember even being a kid from Miami, right? Miami, at least Miami proper, we didn't really have Chick-fil-A growing up. We didn't really have, I think Doral had Chick-fil-A, but if you're not in Doral, good luck.
But even then, not as kids.
Yeah.
Not as kids. That's pretty new, even in Doral. It's pretty new.
But like Waffle House, no such thing in Miami. I think they have one in Davie or something like that.
Yeah, up in Broward.
I'm not taking the trip up there. But like a lot of these restaurants that these Europeans are having a blast at, at least for me when I was a kid, they weren't anywhere,
Right.
So then I went to Georgia to live up there for the boarding school, and man, Zaxby's, Chick-fil-A, you understand the deep South in the food in the United States.
It's crazy. You just mentioned Zaxby's. I had never even heard of it until college. That we were going up to, I think we were going to like Tampa, Orlando, something up North Florida. And one of my buddies like, hey, we got to stop at Zaxby's. I'm like, what the heck is that?
Zaxby's, Zaxby's is amazing. You get like the chicken tender plate with like the Texas toast, the Zaxby's sauce. Anyone that has not had the Zaxby's sauce, if next time you go by a Zaxby's, stop it. It's worth it.
I don't know.
I would risk getting thrown out of high school to go and go AWOL and go get Zaxby's.
But did you have a Chick-fil-A and did you have a Raising Cane's?
So I don't think Raising Cane's was around when we were in high school. I think it's relatively new, or at least its expansion is relatively.
I think its expansion is relatively new, but I think it's been around for longer than we probably.
Chick-fil-A, at least where I was in Hall County, Georgia, in Gainesville, Georgia, that they had a Chick-fil-A, but I don't remember exactly where it was, but there was a Dairy Queen and a Zaxby's within a mile of the school. went like a mile and a half, something like that. And I kid you not, we must have gone. I mean, people would almost like draw straws. You would pay someone like $20 to fence it, and here you're risking private school tuition to go and get like a Zaxby's drop off. We would all do it. I think it was like a rite of passage. I'd never met a student.
Uber Eats didn't exist back then, so you couldn't even have them like, hey, drop it off a block away so we can make a quick run.
Yeah,
you gotta go.
This is gonna be really controversial, but many of us had girlfriends in the local town or in the city, and part of like the unspoken rule was, you know, like I'll take you out on dates on the weekend, but like, you know, like let's say Tuesday and Thursday,
you gotta bring me.
You gotta, you know, maybe a Dairy Queen Blizzard and some Zaxby's. So shout out to Gainesville. That was an incredible, you know, let's say now looking back on it, incredible experience going on.
Yeah.
But to the food part, man, I mean, you really learned about. I mean, have you ever heard of a Perkins? I'm sure you've seen it now that you've driven around like the South. Great spot.
I feel like I've heard of Perkins, but I've definitely never eaten there.
Like, but I still think Zaxby's is now, you know, like they have it all over North Florida or whatever.
Yeah, but it's in the north. It's still not down here.
No, I haven't seen a Zaxby's. Culver's is another one.
Culver's is
that I don't know where it's from,
south, but yeah,
they have one in Orlando. I've never been.
They have them in Naples.
Yeah, I've never.
A little closer. I went there one time. Little crinkly cut fries and everything. I'm such a fan.
They're just. Yeah.
I'm breaking down the fries for you here. All right? Let's go with the crinkly cut fries.
By the way, I love when you do the Instagram videos where like they, you know, like the top food, the top.
Oh my god,
the comments,
dude,
are great.
I love when I make any video on Instagram when some guy's like, this guy's never been to Miami, or this guy is not from here. And I'm like, born and raised.
Thanks, guy.
You know, I'm like, I'm allowed to have a different opinion.
If you don't know, if you have an idea about a real Miami person that grew up here that knows all the spots, this is the guy. This is the guy.
I always laugh when I see those, and I never say anything, but I just laugh at it. Cause I'm like,
oh, dude, I'm totally different. You know, I've decided. I remember, and you know, like talking about social media. How important social media is to every business. You know, to our respective law firms and every other business out there, especially in Miami, because it really seems to drive business no matter what industry you're in.
100%.
And you know, and I remember I used to post videos, and I'd be like, oh man, like I'm so worried about the information I'm putting out. You know. And the comments that it would generate.
Right.
And then you realize, you know, as you do it more and more, or you adapt who you really are rather than whatever. Oh my God, I choose violence every time. I mean, I do commentary on, you know, what to do if you are confronted by a police officer.
Right.
And then I'll have someone write fake lawyer, fake news.
Yeah.
You know, if you follow him, you end up in jail. It's like, the video is about knowing your rights.
Right.
How does that land you in jail? And then my favorite will be like, oh, I'm a retired police officer. You know, and I would immediately go and look extra into this person's car if they said that. It's like, well, thank you for proving the point.
Yeah.
It's, you know, clearly you were not the most ethical police officer, whoever that.
That's why he was the statement was, I used to be a police officer, because clearly what he was doing was completely, you can't just be like, oh, you're not going to let me search. I'm going to search anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
and I'll tell you how that goes. And I think, you know, when you talk about like, oh, well, you know, a lot of people say shit like, oh, I have a lot of police officers who, you know, who are friends. I'll tell you, I've represented a ton of police officers. I know a ton of police officers. There is not a single police officer in the country that's, again, you know, ethical police officer.
Yeah,
it's against you knowing your rights.
No, of course
not. They're going to do their job. They have a job to do. But you as a citizen, or not as a citizen, as a person in the United States, have rights.
You have rights. I mean, it breaks down to that. I think the ethical officers, and maybe I'm wrong, obviously I'm not one, but I would assume that someone who knows their rights and is respectful, right? Because there's some people who know their rights, but are just extremely disrespectful because they think they're, I don't know. It's just, you see the videos all the time. I think someone who knows their rights and is respectful, they can almost have like a friendly conversation about what's going on and just kind of resolve it. You know, not only speak to them and open up to them, you know, obviously you got to be careful with all that stuff, but just, hey, these are my rights. Officer respects those rights, and things just get resolved as they should.
Exactly.
But of course, you're going to have those situations where, you know, maybe someone is an asshole or maybe someone's unethical and, you know, things can go sideways.
I agree. Oh, God. And now there's this whole, it's pure joke. Pure satire, but there's this whole set of videos that are just hilarious. You know, it's like it's a play on this whole like how you should provide your information to like how you should give your license to a police officer. And the guy goes, you know, he'll be sitting in his car and he goes,
I don't think that's a good idea.
Or he comes around the car.
Guys,
Please don't do that.
Don't do that at all. In any city or state, you don't do this. That would work out well.
Can you imagine? That'd be the most justified shooting in the history.
Oh my God. That'd be like, what happened? Watch the video.
Bro.
Watch the video. That's what happened.
Oh, and another one. I think you might have sent me that reel that the guy's like, oh, I didn't really run the red light, and the cop's like, let's just put this to bed. Like, just play the video.
Play the video. Didn't even slow down.
Yeah, didn't even look twice at that.
I always love when I see these videos on TikTok and Instagram and everything out there. I love seeing when they're in the courtrooms, and it's usually a really cool judge. You know, it's a red light ticket, right? Well, I don't believe I took it. It's not like a person's being honest. I think it's up. Yeah. And the judge will be like, all right, well, let's see. We play the video. He watches the video and then just looks at the guy. Looks at the video, looks at the guy. The guy's like,
Your Honor, withhold.
Yeah. The guy's like, mercy? What? You know, he yoinks it, you know? And it's funny to see them, but you can always tell when the judge is cool because he looks at the video, the guy like.
But you know what? I think you have to, and I've had the good fortune, as I'm sure you have, of dealing with some great judges, some judges that aren't so great.
Yeah.
But I find that the vast majority, I mean, are really, and I mean, usually I'm dealing with cases that might be bad cases, might be violent cases. And, I understand when it's, there's been a life loss, when there's violence, all those things. But when you have something like a traffic ticket, I think that there is a room for, and most of it's hearing officers that are hearing those traffic ticket cases. It's not really county judges or circuit judges here in Florida. There's got to be room for humanity in this courtroom, have a little, if the consequences aren't horrible, if no one got hurt, right? It's like, come on, like we can laugh about this.
I think I agree with you on that a lot of times, except when it's someone who's just a habitual freaking like he's been in that courtroom 10 times in the past 6 months. It's like, you're honest, no one got hurt. Yeah. It's going, yeah, the 10th time he's here. Yeah.
Oh my God, I got a good one for you. I was in the criminal courthouse in Miami. I'm not gonna say the judge's name, but he is one of the judges I respect the most in the entire courthouse. And had a situation like that. Felony judge, I think there's like a guy in the box, meaning he's in custody, and the judge goes, you're back again. Like, it's not my client. I'm just watching this go down. And he goes, you're back again? And he goes, yeah. He's like, I had your mom here last week. You promised me, and she promised me you weren't going to be back here. Yeah, but it had a little bit of levity, even though it was a felony case. And, did the guy end up getting a harsher situation? Yes, of course, harsher punishment. But the way that the judge did it, I was a fan because it was like, listen, like I gave you a chance. Yeah. I could give you a much harsher sentence now. I'm not gonna do it. You're getting another chance. Right. But if you find yourself again here for the third time,
there go your chances. 3 strikes and you're out. And that's kind of cool. I like the way he did it, where he gave him a bigger chance the first time, right? Like more leeway. The second time was like, yeah, you're not getting the same leeway. Yeah. Obviously, you're gonna suffer some punishments, and then the third time. So it goes to show that some judges are pretty cool. I think the system is good with that, and an understanding of like, hey, people make mistakes. I mean, obviously, depending on the gravity of the mistake, always. But I think it's got some room for people to make mistakes because you're human. As long as the mistake, you always say this, as long as someone didn't get hurt and it was a genuine mistake, they'll usually work with you if you're just doing something on purpose.
Sometimes you have a mistake and someone gets hurt. So we just saw the George Pino trial. It just had a 2-week trial where, unfortunately, one of the most tragic circumstances from a crash I've heard, where a young woman is killed, her friend is seriously injured. Yep. There was a 2-week trial about this, and the jury ultimately found that, hey, a horrible accident happened, people were hurt, but there was no criminal liability. And I think the justice system has to have that level of humanity that, hey, things happen. Right. Sometimes things happen. And it wasn't criminal, and I love this about our country. In any other country, maybe that result is impossible. And I don't want to say any other country, maybe many other countries with strong legal systems, that outcome is possible. But in a lot of places, the public outcry and, all that other stuff would have precluded that finding. They would have said, hey, everybody wants this guy to go to jail. He's going to jail or prison. But in this country, granted, he had, and I want to say, he had amazing legal representation. Yeah. And I watched a lot of that trial. But yeah, he got not guilty. And, that's another reason I love it.
And I think you put it perfectly. It is a tragic situation where someone did make a mistake, but it's not a criminal, mistake. But then that's why we have the civil side of things, right? So the families
very different on the civil side from what I remember.
Very, very different, and you can get, seek some remedy. And of course, it's kind of tough to say that in a sense because, yes, you can seek financial remedy for this incident that happened, but that's just it. It's just financial. If you lost someone, that money only goes so far. And then if you're severely injured, money may help you with pain and suffering and the bills, but your life is completely different, depending on how permanent they are. And I think a lot of people miss out on that too, where they see all these billboards of, $500,000, $1 million, 20 million one, and all these crazy outcomes. And they don't always realize what had to happen for these financial outcomes. Usually someone or other died or was so severely injured that their life will never be the same.
But those billboards don't tend to have a lot of context. So it's literally just, oh, he got me $500,000. Right. And they're like, hey, I hurt my pinky. Yeah. Do I get $500,000?
Oh my God, I get this all the time. People are like, oh, but so-and-so won $500,000. Like, well, what happened to so-and-so? Well, he had a neck fusion at 3 levels. So he's got this metal plate, he's sitting in there and the car was smashed. I'm going, and you? I fractured my finger and my car's fine, tiny little dent. I'm going, can you see the difference in the cases? I mean, you still have case and still got to fight to get let's be a little realistic.
Those expectations.
Right, let's be a little realistic. Let's get the expectations going where they go, like, you already know the difference in your buddy that got $1 million and what's going on with you. Like, every case is different. And look, even some of the same cases, I'm sure it's the same in your world where the accident may be the same, the injuries are the same. There's other factors. And just like in the criminal world, there are multiple factors that affect the outcome of every case. I think people miss that sometimes.
I agree.
But it's tough to, even as attorneys, it's pretty tough to wrap your head around that. I agree. To be like, man, it's so similar yet so different from one tiny difference.
I agree.
So
I don't think it can be better put, man, because it's every little difference. When you talk about criminal cases, criminal backgrounds, maybe what kind of rehabilitative efforts that person's made in the intervening time. Maybe, is there like a self-defense aspect if it was a dangerous case? So there's like 10 million different situations, but just like in your world, we get those questions. Hey, Fulanito got probation. Why are they offering, jail time on my case? And it's like, okay, well, Fulanito didn't have priors. Fulanito didn't hurt anybody. Fulanito did this, did that. And they're like, oh yeah, I still don't understand why. And like, okay, let me walk you through it again. Let's try it. But you know what, to your point, I think it's important to set those boundaries in the beginning. And just like you, we'll get phone calls where they'll say, oh, I want to meet with you. We'll meet with the person. They'll say, hey, this is what I expect. Yeah. And I ask them, like, what, I'm very upfront. I'm like, listen, those are your expectations. Let me tell you how this is going to go. And if we handle it, how we will approach it. And boom, 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 boom. And, if it's a case where, and I think that's where lawyers get in trouble. If it's a case where the guy's looking at serious prison time and, something serious happened, a violent crime, a heavy duty fraud, something like that. And doing these cases, what the prosecutors are looking for in these cases. And, they'll come in and say, oh, well, I don't want to do a day of jail. Yeah, neither would I. And I understand that. But we need to be realistic with each other. Some cases, if you're on camera, you admitted everything and they got your fingerprints on everything. And I don't mean just literally, meaning figuratively, like your financial record, whatever it may be, it changes the situation. It doesn't mean you're not going to have a great result, but you're not like the first time DUI guy that never hurt anybody.
And I think what you said is true. Like, a great result is so subjective to each case, right? Like, a great result, there's not one definition in our world that is, this is a great result. A great result is a case-by-case basis. And I know people hate hearing that, but it's like, well, it depends. It's favorite phrases, right?
Or give me a percentage of likelihood. It's like, I'd be lying to you if I gave you a percentage. I mean, honestly.
It is incredible. Our system is awesome. There's also a jury on our, civil, criminal is always going to be a jury if you want one at the end of the day. And it is incredible how, man, there are some cases where you just think this is a slam dunk, 100% gonna kill it, and the jury just disagrees with you. And then there's other cases where you're like, I can't believe we're going to trial. This is a terrible case. And the jury comes back and you're like, what in the world just happened? Right. And that's why we always say, hey, juries are extremely unpredictable. They are people. Yeah. And people are unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. maybe they see things the way you do, maybe they don't.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of, it's part of the fun part too, right? Like, you don't really know what's going to happen at the end of the day.
But I'll tell you, I think that's where it really matters, you know, that your lawyers have the experience that they have, because, you know, it's a lot of people say, oh, well, I have all the evidence. Like, let's take it to trial. And then, you know, you review the evidence, it's blurry. There's no way to authenticate it. There's no foundation. I mean, it's, you know, there's a million questions that people, and again, as an experienced lawyer, it's our job to guide them and explain how certain things work before they make that ultimate decision, not the day of, not the afternoon of, not, you know, not 1 second before you have to announce ready for trial, but, you know, taking the time. And I think that's where a lot of our colleagues maybe don't spend enough time. You know, we take at least in my office, we make a great effort to make sure that they understand long before they make that, hey, trial starts on Monday decision, you know, what's going to go down.
I think the other thing that your office does well, I'm sure, and we do well, is to make sure that you speak with the client to get those expectations, set your expectations. And if they are completely off, then maybe it's just not a fit.
I agree.
And I feel some people are willing to do whatever they want to just get the business. And I'm like, guys, there's certain things that you got to be on the same page. At the end of the day, you represent the client, you want the best for them, regardless of what the case is, but you've got to be a team. Like, I can't do my job without the client. Right? You know, can't have the best result without an attorney, but you need to be a team. If the client's not cooperative, you can't get them the best result. And if you don't mesh well, then maybe that business just isn't worth for it.
I agree, man. I agree. You don't take every case that comes to the door, because that, you know, again, you have to be able to, it's from the perspective of you got to be able to maintain your own mental sanity. Yeah. But number two, you know, you have to be the best fit for that client. And if your expectation, if you, let's say in a criminal context, if I think the sentence is going to be X and he thinks he's going home, that's a problem. Right. So, you know, we gotta make sure we're on the same page. And at least, you know, I'm not saying that we've never been in situations where we don't represent people where, you know, like I've been candid with them. They understand. They're like, hey, I'm rolling the dice. But it's all about that informed education of, hey, you're like, I understand. You've told me how you think this is going to go. This, you know, ultimately it's my decision and I'm going forward.
And that's okay too, right? Like, you don't have to come up with the same decision, like the same idea at the end of the day. As long as they understand where you're coming from and what can be, I'm okay with it. Like, hey, you want to roll the dice? So you have the information that you need. You've made an informed decision. Let's go.
I like it, man.
You know, but
I like it. I like the way to see it. And then I think we're out of here, no?
Yeah, I think we're done. We're done on this episode for this week, guys. Thanks so much for stopping by. And we'll be back for another one next week. Just talking about Miami stuff, pretty much.
Love it, man. Always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.